everybody. How's everybody doing? Well,
Good.
today we've got a special person, Lauren Audrey. She is our very special person behind the scene, which puts most of the videos together. And she's going to have something very special done. She is going to have her FFS, meaning facial feminization surgery. So we want to talk about her. At the end, I'll probably talk a little bit more what's going on with our trans gurus and what we're going to do. Because by the way, I tell it now and I tell it in the end again, every Thursday at 6 o'clock in the evening, we are coming with a live show on Facebook. So you are welcome to join in. Come and see us, okay?
Ask questions.
Yeah. So one very important thing, and I thank you, Bonnie, for reminding me, most of the questions that we'll be asking to Lauren are questions that our viewers have written down in Facebook. So this is interactive. This is interactive, okay? So again, I introduce Lauren. She's here. Say hello, Lauren.
Hi.
Can you just talk a little bit about yourself, what you've done?
Let's start off with some questions. I got one right here that was one of the ones sent in was, why do you want FFS surgery?
Because I want to physically feel better about myself. I think one of the biggest fallacies of getting FFS is going into it believing that it's going to just fix all of your mental problems, and I do understand that it's not going to do that. I don't expect it to get rid of my dysphoria. I don't expect it to get me all the way to accepting myself, which that is been a very long journey ever since I started transitioning, which was about 3 years ago. But I do expect it to get me to a point where I do feel a little bit better about myself. I hope that it dulls the dysphoria a little bit more. I'm just looking forward to being able to recognize the person that I see in the mirror, which I'm almost there, but I am not fully there yet.
I mean, you start already very nice, I mean, not many people are so,
Well,
so
thank
nice
you. Grass is always greener, as they say.
Yeah, but
it's
really
like this: an ounce. If you climb one step at a day, eventually you'll get to the top of the stairs. Well, everything you've done over the last 3 years and now what you're doing and you'll continue doing, eventually you're going to get to a point in life where you're going to be at where you want. And when things come easy to people, they don't appreciate it. And this is why sometimes I have a problem. Some people want the recognition, but they haven't put the time or the effort out. And when you put the time and effort, you deserve the recognition because you've worked for it. It wasn't just handed to you. That's all. I just
like to add too that, you are the living proof that, FFS or any kind of surgery, it's mostly for you to feel good. It's for you to get where you want to be. But I do agree. You have to put on the work to be able to collect. That's absolutely correct.
Right. And I mean, another reason why I wanted to, this is going to be the first surgery that I do. The whole reason for that is my face is what gives me the most dysphoria out of everything that I have. So that's kind of like where my decision was in doing that surgery first, as opposed to, bottom surgery or anything else.
You can only do one surgery at a time. I had a couple of surgeries behind me, but I never did more than one surgery per year. Okay, so otherwise it gets too heavy.
Yeah.
Go talk to Joan Rivers about surgeries.
No, I do not want to get addicted to this. I have had friends who have done multiple surgeries all at once, and they seemed to get through it pretty well.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So.
But I think, step by step, although I have to say I've never had I never had facial feminization surgery. Probably
Neither
one day
did
I'll
I.
do.
And I tell you, I can relate because when I still to this day, I look in the mirror, I see my father. And I would love to be able to go get some FFS to change that, because that is probably my biggest dysphoria that I have. So I can relate to what you're saying. You're beautiful in my eyes. I mean, you're about as cis looking as they come. But in your eyes, it's different, just like myself. When I look in the mirror, I see what I see. You look in the mirror and see what you see. So it's all an illusion, but you're the one that's doing the seeing. So that's why it's important to do the things that you're doing, and everything you do will make a difference, and you'll get there through a lot of hard work. Like, how are you going to pay for this?
Okay,
well,
this is the next question, if you don't mind. And I have to say that there was a person called Andrea Cadena, and she asked as well, how do you pay? Is the insurance paying for it? How does that work?
I feel like that's the question of the ages.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't think that I was ever going to be able to do this. When I was looking at those prices, I've got a lot of student loans. I do a lot of technical work. And, in order to get into that field, I had to go to, college and all that. And I've got a lot of student loans because of it. So I didn't think that I was actually going to be able to ever afford this. So what I did find out was that, companies like Starbucks, other companies like Amazon, Whole Foods, I know Whole Foods and Amazon also have these insurance plans, but Starbucks has a really good insurance plan for trans people. They basically cover pretty much a full transition, whether it's face, boobs, bottom surgery if you're a guy, top surgery, bottom surgery, hormones. They cover laser, not really electrolysis. I mean, they would cover electrolysis if they could bill it through a medical provider, but most electrolysis don't bill through medical providers because they only need licenses. They don't have to work with doctors or anything. They cover everything, and especially facial feminization surgery. They cover the entire thing. The only thing that I'm really paying for in this entire process is, one, the time and effort that I've had to put into that place to get to this point, which is basically 20 hours a week. I don't know if you can do it in other countries that Starbucks is located in, but I know that you can do it in the US. Which you also have to choose a surgeon within the United States for surgery for the insurance to cover it. So that's a stipulant right there. But I did have to basically work at Starbucks for about 6 months before my insurance kicked in. And once I went through the process of choosing the surgeon and everything, and then basically making that claim to the insurance company, the way that Starbucks is able to cover this, because most insurance companies won't cover what they consider cosmetic surgery, is that they have a supplementary plan that once their main plan, which I'm insured through United Healthcare, they basically reject it. My supplementary plan kicks in and then basically covers the entire thing. And that's how I don't have to, the only thing that I've basically put in is the time and the money to get out to the surgeon and the hotel fee and all that. So it's definitely worth looking into if you can handle that kind of work. Definitely worth looking into, because it can save you years and years of trying to pay off a debt. And if you want to get more than facial surgery done, you could be upwards in the hundreds of thousands, like $100,000, if not more. I know, right? I had a friend who was charged $87,000 for her facial surgery. So I mean, if that kind of number isn't really attainable, then this might be a good route to go.
And she is beautiful, I have to add. They did a wonderful job. I've seen some pictures. That's incredible.
Yes, I would say so. I've actually, yeah.
As far as the internationally, no, it's very different because some countries it's kind of within the health system, so people don't have to pay anything else like in England. In other countries, it's a little bit like private insurance, like in the US. So the insurance companies probably would pay a certain part of it, or and some countries, you just have to pay for yourself, So
yeah, I mean, I can't really answer any questions about that because I live in the US. So.
Yeah, I can tell you that in Switzerland it's as well a private system. So, yeah. But the basic health insurance usually covers everything.
Wow, lucky for them.
No, I mean in other countries like in Italy, Italy is free of charge, but you don't have too much choice on the surgeons.
Right. I mean, to be honest with you, there's not many really, like, at least in what I want a surgeon that's not going to make me look like I had surgery, and trying to find a surgeon that has that kind of aesthetic is hard. So I would even say in the United States, for as far as this type of surgery goes, is very hard to find. There's not many people out there.
My question to you is, how did you find that surgeon?
Well, I did a lot of research. I joined some groups on Facebook for facial feminization surgery. I have looked at a lot of Reddit forums. I have looked, through a lot of Instagram pictures, and I went on a lot of surgery review sites, and I even reached out to some of the people that had this surgery done to ask them, their personal experiences with these surgeons. And I came, to the conclusion that I was going to go, this guy's name is Toby Mayer. He's in Beverly Hills, California. And the whole reason that I chose him, one, like I said before, I didn't want to look like I have surgery. I want a very natural aesthetic, and I was looking for somebody that knew how to not only get rid of the masculine traits in my face, but also knows how to balance those traits. Because that, to me, I've seen a lot of surgeons who they
go overboard.
It's not even that yeah, some surgeons do go overboard, but I've noticed that some surgeons, all they do is really get rid of the masculine traits on somebody's face. So they end up still kind of looking like they need something else. And one of the things about my background is I'm an artist, and I've drawn people for years. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I know is that balance on the human face is critical to making it look natural. You can get into this thing called the Uncanny Valley, which, look it up. It's kind of like where you get into this realm of you can tell something's off very slightly, but you can't really put your finger on it. And I didn't want to go to a surgeon that was going to do that to me.
So would it be rude to ask you what exactly are you going to have done?
No, not at all. I actually think that was one of the questions from somebody.
Absolutely, yeah.
Who is that from, Ella?
Iris Siri. She asked something in that direction. How were the steps and procedures decided? It's not exactly what you are going to do. So we've got other people as well, which are asking you quite a lot about, these procedures.
Well, I guess I'll answer this one. So Iris, I hope I'm saying your name properly. So it's going to sound like I'm getting a lot done. But like I said, the one thing that I chose about this guy is I wanted to go to a guy. A lot of the complaints about that I've seen about this guy, you're going to see complaints about every surgeon. There's just, you're not going to be in the surgery business without, you know, having surgery on somebody that isn't happy with their work. But a lot of the complaints that I've seen about this guy is that he doesn't do enough. And that to me was actually a selling point, because I don't, like you guys said, lucky for me, I don't feel like I need that much. Some people probably need more than me, but I also feel like when you're cooking food, right? If you put too much spice into the dish, you can't take it out. You can always add more spice after the dish is done, but you cannot take it out after it's in there. And that's kind of how I feel about surgery. If they take too much off my face, then the only way to fix it is to fix it with, you know, implants or some other type of means as to that. So knowing that that's how I came to this conclusion, I'm going to basically, he's going to be doing an incision right up over here, like right along my scalp. And within that incision, he is going to be basically shaving down my brow ridge, bringing my hairline basically that much, like not, he's going to basically be bringing it forward very, very slightly. Because one thing that I know from being an artist again is that the one misconception about hairlines is that, you know, women have these, cis women have these very, you know, small foreheads, which if you actually look at a cis woman, that's not the case, right? That's not true at all. They don't have massive foreheads, but they don't have very tiny foreheads either.
It depends on the person.
Right. Usually the balance is within the lower thirds of the face. So if you section off the face as thirds, which I would say from here to here, from here to here, you notice that this portion of the face is significantly smaller than the rest of the face. To be honest with you, most male and female faces are pretty similar. Even the jawline is like, that's another misconception, is that women have these very thin jaws. I mean, if you look at Angelina Jolie or any of these other actresses out there with like wider jaw sets, that's not the case. I mean, she's got a wider jaw than I do, you know. So yeah, so he's going to basically be going in around my hairline. He's going to be using that incision to take down my brow ridge. I'm not doing a
quick question on because there's a lot of controversy over that. Some people actually cut that front plate out, grind it down, and then put it back in. Or are they just going to grind it down? What are they doing?
Yeah. So I had an X-ray done of my face. And the whole reason why they take off it's basically your orbital rim, which is it's kind of freaky if you ever see videos of it. You can actually see
more forwards.
Right. You can actually see somebody's brain when they take this thing off. What they do is that they'll make it a cut in the skull, basically around this section of your brow ridge, and then they'll take that off. And what they do is they shave it down and then put it back. They're not going to be doing that with me. The whole reason why they do that in the first place is to protect the sinus cavities underneath. I don't have that big of sinus cavities. A lot of people do. A lot of trans women do have very large sinus cavities. It's just, you know, that's just how it is. But in my case, I don't have extremely large sinus cavities. So I'm going to be able to hopefully get away with him just grinding the existing bone down.
That's got to be much better for healing too.
Yeah, I've heard the healing time is less than that, but the only concern that people should have is basically, and this is the way that I had a surgeon explain it to me, is that if you think of a table, right, and you want to take that table down like an inch, you can either shave the top of the table, right, the actual like thing that you rest everything on, you can shave that down an inch, or you can basically you can saw that tabletop off, shave down the legs an inch, and then put the tabletop back on. And basically what you're doing is you're by shaving down that tabletop, you're taking down the structural, like I would basically consider it like the structural integrity of your skull. But like I said, luckily for me, I don't have that issue. Thank God.
And they were able to determine that through your x-rays?
Yes. Yeah. Once they are able to see the sinus cavities that are underneath your skull, because you can't tell. I mean, you can't tell how big your sinus cavities are just by looking at somebody's face. But yeah.
But an x-ray will show that.
Yes.
Okay.
One thing about Mayer, though, is that he's kind of against doing type 3 surgeries. So if you are somebody that needs that, he's probably not the doctor for you. But that's like, again, that was in the complaints that I was reading. He seems like a pretty fantastic surgeon for the most part. So I'm kind of happy with who I picked. So beyond that, he is going to be raising my eyebrows just a little bit. I can't even really. I've seen pictures of it. It looks very natural and looks really good. And I am going to be getting a slight nose job just because, like you said, Bonnie, I kind of see my dad's face when I look in the mirror. Horrifying.
Horrifying. I mean, nightmare shit.
Right. So yeah, he's going to be reshaping my nose a little bit. I do have issues breathing through my one nostril. I've always had it. And the one nice thing about this surgeon is that he's going to also make my nose more functional. I've heard this from other people that he's gone to, that not only did he make my nose look awesome, but he also made it more functional. And that'll be kind of cool.
Ideal, yeah.
Right.
Ideal.
I mean, he even asked me if I could breathe clearly through both nostrils, and I was like, yeah. I mean, I guess I've never not experienced my nose, so I don't know if I could get better. But I've actually, since he asked me that question, I've been kind of noticing that my one nostril is not.
Are you going to do the lip lift?
Yes. So what they basically do there is that they cut a small piece of skin off, like right here. They cut away a little bit of skin, and then they lift your lip up, basically shortening the distance between, between there and there. And then there was another question I saw about lip implants. I'm not going to be doing lip implants. Basically what I'm going to be doing something similar, but what they're going to be doing is taking some fat out from another part of my body. I chose my stomach because I don't want to take it away from my hips. I already needed more help down there than anything else. So he's going to be taking it out of a little bit of fat out of my stomach and then injecting it into my upper lip to kind of just give it a more full appearance.
Will that go away after a while, or does it remain?
No, actually, your lip doesn't really lose fat like the rest of your body does. So, like, you know how, like, when you're working out and stuff, like, your lip is like some area that is least likely to lose that.
Yeah, that was a question from Raina Chetam about lip implants. Yeah. I have to tell you something. When I was looking for a doctor, because I wanted to make some FFS, I went to about 3 or 4 doctors. And I like your attitude to have the minimalist because they usually give the best job. One of them wants to make me as well, the shaving of the forehead. But I looked at my forehead and my ex-wife had a bigger one than I did. So why the hell should I shave?
Right.
It was kind of a little bit overwhelming. Why the hell do you do that if cis women have got considerably bigger than you are?
Yeah, I mean, that's...
And the other thing is the nose.
Mhm.
Okay, I do have a huge nose. It's part of my DNA. My mother had exactly the same nose as I have. And as a matter of fact, what is absolutely incredible is when I look at myself at the mirror these days, I look exactly like my mother.
Aw.
So
Yeah.
I don't have any, I don't have too much to complain about.
But we have two dads here and one mother look-alike.
I mean, I actually think it's kind of funny because, like, before I transitioned, I looked a lot like my dad. And then now, after the hormones have taken effect, I'm starting to look more like my mom, which it's kind of funny how both of your parents are literally ingrained into you and you don't even realize it unless
in
you're
my family,
yes.
it's really incredible because me, my daughter, my oldest son, and my mother, we all look the same.
Yeah.
So I never looked like my father, never. I always looked like my mother, so
Yeah.
that was quite an easy thing.
Pretty uncanny. So there's more. So he's also going to be doing small cheek implants, which
Okay.
are basically going to take my cheeks from where they're at now to about right here.
Okay.
My sister's cheeks are very pronounced, and it's going to kind of bring it to that level, which, he basically, he's like, grin. I was like, okay. And he's like, that's about where your cheeks are going to be. Because I was really concerned about going too far. I mean, if that's what you want, it's perfectly fine. It's just not something that I was looking for. I'm trying to
Be more natural and blend as opposed to stand out.
Right. I mean, I've never been somebody that's even wanted plastic surgery. One one of the people that actually, like, before I decided to even transition, I was trying to convince myself, one, that I was not trans, and couldn't do it. I ended up proving myself wrong. The double-blind study I was doing myself, and then there was I found this lady online. She used to be an IndyCar. She's an IndyCar racer. Her name's Charlie Martin. She used to be in the Army and stuff. Like, the fact that she was into, like, working on cars and doing all this, like, dude stuff, like, that was one of the reasons why I was saying that I wasn't going to transition. But she ended up getting facial surgery from Facial Team, I think, in Spain. And the results that she got from that surgery were just, I was like, wow. I was like, if I could do that, I'm going to transition. There's no doubt in my mind. Like, that's what I want. I want that. So I've kind of always known that I wanted to do this surgery going into it. But, beyond the cheek implants, he's going to shave down my chin a little bit. So basically make it a little bit more narrow and bring it up just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to get a tracheal shave to get rid of this Adam's apple that you can't even really see on the screen. But that's pretty much it. That's what I'm doing.
That's wonderful. That's really wonderful. Thank you very, very much for, your detailed information about all the things that you do, because I think it's really quite incredible. Because, when you go and do facial feminization surgery, it's not one surgery, it's a hell of a lot of small things, right?
Right.
How long are you going to be under? And did they tell you how long you'll probably be under?
They did not tell me how long I'm going to be under. Just going off of other friends who have done this, I would guess about from 5 to 6 hours.
Oh.
I had a friend who was under closer to 9 hours, and I feel like that's kind of the extreme.
But she had a lot more work done than you, right?
Yes and no. She also had her boobs done, but yes.
Are you
Okay,
having your
that's not
boobs
the
done?
face.
I'll be doing that later.
Okay, no, I was
Yeah,
just
but
wondering.
the boob surgery is not a very long surgery. It only takes about half an hour, 1 hour, you know.
Yeah, just pop them in there. That's. I'm gonna get the Nike Air Pump edition. I feel like being a D today.
Okay, one question. How are you mentally preparing yourself for all this? Because it's a hell of a lot, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I've been having freak out moments every here and there. I am way more excited than I am freaked out. I'm just gonna put that out there. But mentally preparing myself, I've stopped looking at reviews and surgery pictures and all these other things. I know that's kind of crazy. I did a lot of research up until this point before I even picked my surgeon, and I feel like I'm kind of at the point where I'm just like, I'm locked in. I'm doing this. I'm not trying to upset myself by looking at, this review or this review, because I've seen them all for the most part. This guy's been doing it for like close to 44 years.
So what date is your surgery? How far away is it?
It is on the 11th of August. So it's coming up. It's
Couple
getting
of
very,
days.
very close. I mean,
Literally next week.
what's that?
Next week.
Yes.
Well, it's less than 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks.
God, that's
Yeah.
so crazy. Yeah, I'm just because of the pandemic, I've been quarantining myself in my house. I was working at Starbucks up until that point. I do work at home sometimes, but I've been taking it pretty easy. I've just been relaxing for the most part.
Do you do any visualization, like when you see yourself going for the surgery, see yourself healing really, really well, seeing the results super, super happy, and feeling really good with yourself? Do you do any kind of type of visualization that goes along that line?
I mean, other than just I guess my whole philosophy going into it is more about preparing myself physically. Like, I'm starting to work out more. I'm trying to eat more healthy. I haven't really done any visualization, but I'm trying to keep myself away from getting into like negative mindsets. Like, that's about as far as I've gotten into all that stuff.
Okay.
We've got here a question, which is actually, I think it's very interesting because Stuart Pack asked, I've seen scars of the implants moving and breaking through the skin. At this point, and unfortunately Raj is not here with us, I would like to add that, Lauren is going to go to a professional doctor, not some kind of, person which is going to inject her with cement, like it used to be done in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. Don't forget, many of the people in our community, they were not very rich and they wanted to have feminization. They wanted to look very feminine. But not having too much money means that they actually went to people which promised them a hell of a lot of looking beautiful for very cheap. And that is a no. And if you get that, you risk your life forever. Many people died because of that. They were just putting, silicone from Home Depot or from a do-it-yourself. This is crazy, but it happened.
We should do a show, not trying to interrupt you, but on Raj, who actually went on Botched, where she had all the side effects. Yes, when she had all those injections, she was as beautiful as they come, but years later it backfired and it shifted.
Days
and problems
later.
arose. What I'm trying to say
Later.
is we probably should share something like that to let people know that is something you do not do. It may work today, but you got to worry about the problems down the road. And the
Right.
way you're doing it professionally, even though it costs money, and you know, when you want something bad enough, somehow you figure out how to do it. And you had to go work at Starbucks, and somebody may have to go work somewhere else and take a pay cut, but be able to do it, and you're young and able to do it and not have all the responsibilities. You know, I salute you for that. You're a doer, an achiever. I think you're amazing. And I mean, I've said it many times in the videos that people listen to. I think the world of you. I think that you are as good as they come, and I just hope you believe after all this stuff and you get through it. And while we're talking about, I have seen over and over and over where transgender people, once they reach that point where they feel comfortable in their skin, excel in life on such a higher level because there's nothing holding them back. This dysphoria disappears. And I see you that someday I'm going to see your name up there in the starlights, whether it's in movies, whether it's in whatever you do. But bottom line is you are a professional, and Trans Gurus is on the level we are because of you directing us and helping us what to say, how to say it, the way to say it, set the shows up. I mean, I have nothing but praise for you, Lauren. That's all. Not trying to go on.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, I really would like to underline the point that if you go and do it, choose a good professional. I still got friends which have got problems with the silicons they injected. Don't go to silicon parties. That is the worst thing that you can do. So freaking dangerous.
Especially now that there's options like these companies that are providing this insurance, these insurance plans. There's, to me, it's like, you know, yeah, you're going to be taking a pay cut, but in reality, you're going to end up spending a ton of money on these surgeries anyways. So you can always just think about it like, hey, I mean, technically, I'm like one of the highest paid baristas in the country. You know, I'm getting paid close to $80 an hour if you actually, you know, 60 to 80.
Look at everything together, yeah.
Right. If you actually look at what I'm getting out of it, you know, it's pretty incredible, and I would highly suggest everybody to look into that.
Any other questions? Any other thing? Something you want to tell us about? Except that you are driving all the way to the other side of the United States?
God, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be me and my aunt driving in a car for about 3 days there. And then after I get this surgery done, it's going to be a nightmare driving back.
Yes.
3 days in the car after I just had major surgery. It's going to be, I don't know, you know, I'm willing to go through it because, you know, my biggest concern was catching this virus when, you know, I'm trying to heal, which, you know, my sister was going to go with me and she ended up catching it. It's a really contagious thing. So I don't want to, you know, not even like if I was able to get through it, which I'm, you know, I'm actually more concerned about messing up my healing process and, you know, having
So after surgery, how long are you staying there in California?
Well, I'm going to be staying out there for about 10 days.
Okay.
After surgery. Some doctors prefer you to do 14. I'm going to be doing 10. Nice thing is right now, because of the pandemic, and you know, it's sad that this is happening, but a lot of the Airbnbs right now are going for very, very cheap. And I am kind of benefiting from that. I got a pretty nice place in just
Very good price.
Yeah, I think it's just north of Beverly Hills. Very nice place, completely furnished. We got a full kitchen, basically full 1-bedroom house. So it's, you know, not too bad. Not too bad.
Very good, very good. I'd like to wrap up this this talk. It was really great talking with you, Lorraine. I think we gave something to the people which watch Trans Gurus.
I
I
hope
think it
so.
was really great.
And, hopefully we can, I'll do another interview when I get back, after I heal and figure out.
Yes, ma'am. We want to see the before and after pictures. That is very important.
Right.
And on the final note, please, guys, girls, come and see us on every Thursday at 6 o'clock. We go live now on Facebook every Thursday at 6 o'clock. So come and see us. I'm sure you're going to have a great time. And
there's 5 different people on the board. So if you want to ask a question, and let's say you like Jimmy, you can ask her a question. If you like Christian, who's a trans man, and you want to ask trans men questions or whatever. I mean, what I'm trying to say is there's 5 different people with 5 different points of view. And if you want somebody in specific to answer it, that's all you got to do is request it. And we're just trying to give back to the community and help people that maybe don't understand, just like we're doing this video. If we can give information that helps people to get closer to their journey, then we're successful at what we're trying to do.
yes, and on last tone, I'd like to thank our followers. We're going to reach probably in the next hour or so 4,600 followers, which is amazing. We've got over 4,000 likes. Thank you very, very much, and have a great day.